Hey, what's up everybody? Hammerheart Metal Reviews here once again. Today we are doing another edition in my series where I'm just going through 5 random CDs from my collection. 5 albums that I've been spinning in the car this week that I felt like talking about. Not really any rhyme or reason to which albums I'm selecting, just stuff from my collection that maybe I haven't talked about on the channel before. And yeah, you know the deal, the spiel by now. This is the 3rd edition in this series. I'll probably do one of these every month. So without further ado, let's just get right into this. 5 CDs to talk about today. Let's kick it off with one of my favorite bands of all time, Dissection. And the album I'm talking about is a live album, actually, Live Legacy. So this band needs no introduction. Melodic black metal mixed with death metal. I know there's arguments over, oh, are they a black metal band? Are they a death metal band? I've always considered them much more in the black metal camp, just with the aesthetics and everything about the band. Look at that album art, just gorgeous stuff. I mean, if I'm gonna go all-time favorite bands just based on their first 2 albums, The Somber Lane and Storm No Light's Bane, I don't know that there's too many bands that had more of an impression on everything that I am into than Dissection. Like, ever since the first time I heard them, they just instantly, I fell in love with them. Those 2 albums are just glorious, shining examples of melodic black metal done right. The songwriting is on point. The vocals, the guitar, like there's melody and solos. The lyrics are legible. And what I love about this live album, there's only 7 tracks, but the set list is great. It's all stuff from the first 2 albums only, because this was, let's see what year this was recorded. It was recorded in Vaken in 1997. So before John went to jail, this is back in their heyday. And what I really like about this, in the booklet, it actually like goes into the meaning behind the lyrics for each of the songs that are on here, which is really cool because, I mean, the lyrics are on a different level here with Dissection. I mean, he was into some weird stuff, but yeah, musically just brilliant stuff. And I don't buy too many live albums, but when it comes to Dissection, like I have the Rebirth Live of Dissection DVD as well. One of my all-time favorite bands. I'm going to pretty much grab every single thing that they did release, and I just can't help it. But yeah, amazing live album. Check it out if you haven't, and check out the band if you haven't, which, I mean, that sounds crazy because everyone's heard of Dissection, but if you haven't listened to them, do yourself a favor and go check them out. All right, up next, let's switch to some traditional heavy metal with a very underrated band, in my opinion, Galaxy, with their album On the Shore of a Life. So this band is from Australia. This album, what year is this? From 2021, so relatively new. This was one of my favorite releases from 2021, especially for trad metal. This really just combines influences like old school Judas Priest and Merciful Fate, but really puts their own spin on it here as well. The vocalist just really has a unique timbre to his voice. He hits a lot of high notes, and like maybe sometimes the pitch wavers a little bit. Might not be necessarily the most polished vocalist out there, but I love the passion, and it just suits these songs so well. And the guitar riffs, top-notch stuff here. Like, this is some quality new age traditional heavy metal, and I feel like this band is not talked about enough. This album rips, like it kicks so much ass. The riffs and solos on here just shred, and the vocals just had a very unique touch to it. And with the massive amount of bands that are kind of up and coming in traditional heavy metal with this kind of resurgence of the classic style, you need a little bit of unique identity to stand out from the crowd, and they definitely have it, especially in the vocals. I could see some people maybe not digging it as much because it's very unique, but I love it. I love these kind of vocals, and yeah, just a really awesome album. Definitely check it out if you haven't. If anything I just said sounds like it would be up your alley, like if you like 70s era Judas Priest and old school Merciful Fate, you'll be digging this album for sure, so go check it out. All right, let's switch it up again. I like to switch up the genres in these videos, get a little bit of everything. And this band is a very hard one to describe. I'll say like technical death metal mixed with thrash, with black metal, kind of all over the place. I'm talking about Xoth here with their 2nd album, Interdimensional Invocations. Got really cool album art there. So these guys are from the States. Best comparison I could say would be like Absu mixed with Vector, mixed with like Black Dahlia Murder, if that makes sense. A lot of influences just thrown together, but they really make it work. The guitar playing here is very technical, but there's so much melody as well. And just the way they start like thrashing, but then will bring in this really great guitar lead, and like all their stuff's very tongue-in-cheek. You can tell they're just having a good time, all like very like space-oriented lyrics. And it's just a fun time. It's a fun album. Maybe the vocals aren't my absolute favorite, but the musicianship on display on this album is worth it alone. Their new one from last year, kicked ass, was probably even better than this album, but this album rips too. And their debut is great as well, but this one, for a long time, I was going to say, like, oh, this was my favorite album by them out of 2 albums. Okay, but their new one might have overtaken this, is what I'm trying to say. But nonetheless, solid album. Go check it out if you have not. All right, let's switch it up once again. This time going with some power metal with Judicator and their debut album, King of Rome. So if you're unfamiliar with Judicator, this is like basically Blind Guardian worship, but also bringing in some hints of like Iced Earth, more of the American power metal kind of thing. All their songs, at least on this album, are very historically themed, obviously about Rome in this case. Out of their, how many albums do they have now? 6? I'd say 4 of them are very historical themed. They're all concept albums. The other 2 are more like personal concept albums. But this one, to just come out of the gates firing with this debut, this was almost like a do-it-yourself project. It was just the 2 band members at the time, vocalist, and then the guitarist, and it's like programmed drums. So, I mean, the programmed drums kind of stand out as like they could, you can tell that they're programmed. They would improve on that later when they would form the full band. But for a debut, like, this kicks a lot of ass. The riffs on here shred, and, I mean, anything that reminds you of Blind Guardian, I'm going to be into. Blind Guardian's like my favorite band of all time. And yeah, Judicator, solid power metal band. It's thrashy, it's heavy, it's fast, and vocals that will definitely remind you of Hansi Kirsch, so maybe it's not completely unique, but I still dig it a lot. I like pretty much everything that they have released, and yeah, this debut is no exception. Go check it out if you haven't. All right, last but not least, another band that's maybe hard to describe, kind of a blend of genres, almost falling in the Dissection camp of like melodic black metal mixed with melodic death metal. This time from Minnesota, Inexorum. They will get a lot of comparisons probably to a band like Obsequiae, both from the same place, so it makes sense. And even some of the members from here and some of the members from Obsequiae then formed Majesties, the melodic death metal band. But yeah, here, this is probably more on the melodic black metal side than death metal, but it's kind of right in the middle. So think bands like, yeah, Obsequiae, Dissection, Necrophobic. But this has such a lush soundscape. Look at that album art there. This is another one that I believe has programmed drums. But yeah, just really awesome stuff. Show you the CD. This band is probably not well enough known. What was their album from last year or 2 years ago called? I can't remember. But yeah, that one's possibly even better than this. But I found this at my local record store selling for used for like 10 bucks. I'm like, yeah, I'm scooping that up. I love their newest one and have it. I got to get their back catalog too. So I see this instantly, instant buy without even necessarily hearing it too many times before. But yeah, this is just solid melodic black metal with, yeah, like I said, lush soundscape, if that even makes sense. But I'm rambling on here once again. Go check out Inexorum, a solid band with solid album here with Moonlit Navigation. That's my 5 albums for today. That is it for this video. Let me know what you think of any of these albums. You'll get another edition in this next month where I'll talk about 5 more albums. So until then, Hammerheart Metal Reviews out.